Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Micron Technology ATMP facility in Sanand, Gujarat. Move marks major milestone in India's semiconductor manufacturing journey. India revises financial year 26 growth projection upwards to 7.6%. The economy grows at a faster than estimated 7.8% in the third quarter, ending in December. Donald Trump says he is not happy with Iran nuclear talks, opposes any uranium enrichment as negotiations mediated by Oman show progress but no breakthrough. UN chief expresses deep concern over rising violence between Afghanistan and Pakistan, urges immediate cessation of hostilities and reiterates his call for resolving differences through diplomacy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in India's western state of Gujarat today, where he will inaugurate the semiconductor ATMP, or the Assembly, Test and Packaging Facility of Micron Semiconductor Technology India Private Limited in Sanand. He will also address a gathering. The inauguration marks a significant milestone in India's semiconductor manufacturing journey, with the commencement of commercial production and shipment of the first made-in-India semiconductor memory modules from the Sanand ATMP facility. The project, which had its groundbreaking ceremony in September 2023, was the first proposal approved under the India Semiconductor Mission. With a total outlay of more than Rs 22,500 crore, construction commenced soon after approval, reflecting the government's commitment to fast-tracking strategic semiconductor investments in the country. The Sanand facility, once fully ramped up, will feature approximately 500,000 square feet of clean room space, making it one of the world's largest raised floor clean rooms. The facility is designed to serve customers worldwide and address the growing global demand for memory and storage solutions driven by rapid advancements in artificial intelligence and high-performance computing. The Sanand ATMP facility will convert advanced dynamic random access memory and NAND semiconductor wafers from Micron's global manufacturing network into finished memory and storage products, catering to customers across global markets. Ahead of the Prime Minister's visit, DD India correspondent Meghna Dev spoke to the CEO of Micron Technology, Sanjay Mehrotra.
A landmark moment for India with the inauguration of this semiconductor ATMP facility that Micron is coming up with in Sanand, which will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We are joined in by the CEO, Sanjay Mehrotra. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to DD India. Very important. This was much awaited project. It is finished in record time. What do you have to say? Prime Minister will be inaugurating it very soon now.
This is a historic moment for India, for Micron Technology. Micron Technology is a global leader in memory and storage semiconductor technology, and that is today at the heart of AI. Micron here is now bringing that leading edge memory production to India. We are very excited on behalf of all of the 1,300 team members here in this facility and another 4,000 of Micron team members in Hyderabad and Bangalore. We are very excited to welcome the Prime Minister and other honorable ministers to open this facility tomorrow. So this is a pioneering project for semiconductor manufacturing in India.
How do you see India's strides in the semiconductor ecosystem, because India has just announced the Indian Semiconductor Mission 2.0 in its budget. How do you see it growing in the future, becoming a long-term player in the ecosystem?
We here are definitely planning from phase 1 today, which is being opened, to phase 2 in the future. This will grow to a facility that will be over time 5,000 manufacturing workers here, and another nearly 5,000 that will be enabled in the ecosystem as well. So this is just the beginning. Micron is pioneering this project with the support of the government, with, of course, the policies that this Modi ji's government has enabled here. Micron is ready to ramp up volume production and put into production multiple hundreds of millions of advanced memory chips into assembly and test here and be able to ship it globally worldwide.
So here we had the CEO of Micron Technology speak to us on obviously the much awaited inauguration of this ATMP facility, as well as definitely something that will create more buzz in the semiconductor ecosystem, which awaits to come in India as well as which exists in India at the moment. With camera person Vinod Oja, this is Megha Dev for DD India from Sanand, Gujarat.
And India is executing a major strategic shift from being a primarily import-dependent consumer to a global semiconductor maker, with 2026 acting as a pivotal year for commercial production. Evident from the India AI Impact Summit 2026 held in New Delhi, which marked a defining milestone in country's rise as a global artificial intelligence power. We get you details in our next report.
Against the backdrop of geopolitical supply chain pressures and the global race for microchips, industry captains and government leaders laid out a compelling narrative. India is ready to move from chip consumer to chip maker, anchored by AI innovation and manufacturing muscle. The summit saw ministers and top executives highlight how India's semiconductor strategy dovetails with its AI roadmap under the newly launched India Semiconductor Mission 2.0, designed to build a full-stack ecosystem from design to fabrication and packaging. Meanwhile, in a movement that became a major highlight of the AI Impact Summit, India signed Pax Silica, America's coalition to secure the global chip supply chain.
We also had Pax Silica today, which is very important for us from the semiconductor industry perspective, from resilient supply chain, resilient value chain perspective. And the fact that we are today seen, whether in Europe or in Australia or in US or in Southeast Asia, everywhere we are seen as a trusted country.
Global leaders from electronics and technology sectors echoed confidence in India's growth trajectory. They emphasized collaboration across design, fabrication, packaging, and talent development, key pillars to compete with established hubs in East Asia and the West. At the summit, industry captains stressed that India's vast tech talent, rising demand for chips, and proactive policy support make it a compelling destination for semiconductor investments.
I'm very encouraged, I'm very energized. I believe there's an incredible opportunity for India with AI. And one of the things I like a lot about this, being a semiconductor company, I like the AI opportunity, the electronics manufacturing opportunity that's happening in India, the semiconductor supply chain. When I put all of this together, I see that this is going to be a great opportunity of growth, of development, especially with a lot of new technologies that AI is changing, from mobile to automotive to the personal computing, industrial, robotics, all the way to the data center.
India's chip push isn't abstract. It's now tangible with multiple fabrication and assembly plants under construction, supported by fiscal incentives and global collaborations. These investments signal a shift in the world's semiconductor map. Government projections focus on doubling GPU capacity, accelerating AI compute infrastructure, and fostering domestic chip design, all essential to reducing reliance on imported silicon and powering next-gen AI systems.
We have announced partnership with some of the ecosystem players, such as Synopsys of USA for design, Tokyo Electron of Japan for equipment, ASMPT of Singapore for packaging, and we'll continue to seek more partners. This is possible because of our Honorable Prime Minister's global outreach and emphasis on India's semiconductor mission.
For decades, India's strength lay in software and services. But at the AI Impact Summit 2026, global industry captains and policymakers converged on a bold vision to make India a design-to-manufacturing powerhouse with AI at its core. With computation, chips, and innovation now on the same highway, the country's semiconductor ambitions are shifting from aspiration to execution on the world stage. In New Delhi, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
We now bring you a special story on how in the era of artificial intelligence, India has taken a major step towards connecting tradition with the future, especially with regard to weaving new designs.
For centuries, on India's looms, not just threads but history and culture have been woven. Every sari carries a story, every design reflects a legacy. But with changing times, traditional weavers have faced new challenges, complex designs, lengthy calculations and global competition. Now, in the era of artificial intelligence, India has taken a major step towards connecting tradition with the future. During the India AI Impact Summit 2026, Tata Consultancy Services showcased a revolutionary artificial intelligence-based weaving loom and design platform aimed at preserving India's rich handloom tradition and empowering it with modern technology. Tata Consultancy Services presented an AI-based intelligent design platform referred to during demonstrations as the AI Weaver. This AI-driven system integrates the traditional weaving process with digital precision, enabling complex designs to be created with speed and accuracy. The platform converts voice, sketches or images into 3D models and transforms them into loom-ready patterns. This platform completely transforms the traditional sari and textile design process. The model is not just for viewing, it is directly converted into a loom-ready pattern. The technology is especially useful for intricate weaves such as the famous Kanjivaram saris of Kanchipuram. Customers can now view the sari in 3D or through augmented reality even before it is woven. This is not just a story of technology, it is the story of an India that moves confidently towards the future while preserving its roots. This confluence of tradition and technology will make India both culturally rich and globally competitive. In this age of AI, India is ready once again to astonish the world through its looms.
And India's economy may grow faster than previously estimated this financial year as the government unveils a new framework for calculating output, highlighting the resilience of the world's most populous nation to global trade disruptions. India's Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has released a new series of annual and quarterly national accounts estimates with base year 2022-23 replacing the previous 2011-12 series. According to the ministry, the revision aligns with international best practices and reflects the structural transformation of the economy over the past decade. It said that GDP is expected to grow higher at 7.6% in 2025-26, higher than 7.1% recorded in 2024-25 as per the new series. Further, India's economy is projected to maintain a strong momentum in third quarter of financial year 2025-26.
We would see that in all the 3 years, last 3 years, the growth rate, real growth has been over 7%. And the nominal growth rate over the last 3 years is averaging above 9%. And that's very important because these are the numbers when we talk of achieving Viksit Bharat 2047. The numbers being talked about are between 7 to 8% real growth rates and between 9 to 10% of nominal growth rates.
Subsequent to the economic survey and the budget presentation, we also have had the framework agreement with the United States arrived at, etc. And therefore, we are increasing our GDP growth outlook for FY27 from 6.8 to 7.2 previously to between 7 and 7.4% under the new series. We are actually, at the moment, we feel that the risk is on the upside in this range. That is, the economy is more likely to achieve a number closer to 7.4% rather than 7%, of course.
All right, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Poland plans social media ban for children under 15 as countries explore restrictions amid claims that social media services are harmful or addictive for minors. Paramount acquires Warner Brothers in $110 billion mega merger. And in T20 World Cup, England continues its unbeaten run in the Super 8 stage by beating New Zealand by 4 wickets in Colombo.
Welcome to Jharkhand, the land of forests. Always.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahaj and some more stories. US President Donald Trump on Friday voiced frustration with Iran's stance in nuclear negotiations as US staff left Israel due to safety concerns. Trump said he was not happy with the negotiation with Iran over Tehran's nuclear program and that he does not want any enrichment for Iran at all of uranium that could go towards a nuclear bomb, which Iran denies it is pursuing.
They should make a deal, but they don't want to quite go far enough, and it's too bad. Look, we've been playing with them for 47 years, and that's a long time. They've been blowing the legs off our people, blowing the face off our people, the arms. They've been knocking out ships one by one. But every month there's something else, so you can't put up with it too long. We're not happy with the negotiation. They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words, we're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say, we're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And they just can't quite get there. They want to enrich a little bit. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation.
But Oman, which mediated the Geneva talks, offered a much rosier picture and said that Iran had agreed to zero stockpiling of any uranium. Omani Foreign Minister Saeed Badr Hamad Al-Busaidi met with US Vice President J.D. Vance on Friday following the latest round of US-Iran talks. Trump has ordered the biggest military build-up in decades in West Asia with the world's largest aircraft carrier. The USS Gerald R. Ford left port near the Greek island of Crete on Thursday, bound for shores near Haifa in northern Israel, where it is expected to arrive on Friday. The US has also sent around a dozen of F-22 fighter jets to Israel. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio will travel to Israel for talks on Iran on Monday. US Department of State issued a notice that Rubio's trip will run from March 2nd to 3rd and that its focus will be on relations with Iran and Lebanon as well as implementing Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza. In a rare break from decades of precedent, the top US diplomat will travel without reporters on his plane. Rubio said on Friday he has designated Iran as a state sponsor of wrongful detention and that Iranian regime must stop taking hostages and release all Americans unjustly detained in Iran. US Embassy announced it was allowing non-emergency government personnel and family members to leave Israel due to safety risk. Italy's foreign ministry also urges citizens to leave Iran and advise extreme caution across the West Asia, citing persistently unstable security conditions. It advised Italian nationals in Israel to exercise maximum caution and remain vigilant. Britain said it was moving diplomatic staff out of Tel Aviv, where most countries maintain embassies, to another location in the country as a precautionary measure. France on Friday reiterated its advice to nationals not to travel to Israel, Jerusalem and the West Bank because of the security situation in Iran. Germany, in a new advisory, said it urgently discouraged travel to Israel. China, a main partner of Tehran, called on its citizens to evacuate Iran as soon as possible. Multiple ground clashes were reported along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Pakistan confirmed that 12 of its own soldiers were killed and Afghanistan said it had lost 13 Taliban fighters. The Taliban, which denies sponsoring militant attacks on Pakistan, said it had launched what it described as retaliatory attacks on Pakistani military installations on Thursday but was ready to negotiate. Taliban border forces in described fierce clashes with Pakistani troops following airstrikes on major Afghan cities, including Kabul and Kandahar. It is the most serious confrontation, with the once close allies also trading cross-border attacks and Pakistan describing the situation as open conflict. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities between Afghanistan and Pakistan. His spokesperson Stephen Dujarric said UN chief is deeply concerned by the escalation of violence between the two neighbors and the impact that is having on civilian populations. Dujarric said years of conflict, poverty and natural disasters in Afghanistan had left nearly half of the population in need of humanitarian aid, and this number will only increase if the fighting goes on or escalates.
The Secretary General is deeply concerned by the escalation of violence we're seeing between Afghanistan and Pakistan and the impact that violence is having on civilian populations. He calls for an immediate cessation of hostilities, and he reiterates his call on the parties to resolve any differences through diplomacy. Further on the situation in Afghanistan, our humanitarian colleagues are voicing concern over the impact of attacks, including reported incident at a transit and reception center at the Torkaram border crossing in the eastern part of Afghanistan.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday directed all U.S. federal agencies to immediately cease using Anthropic's AI technology after the startup rejected the Pentagon's demand for unconditional military access to its Claude model, that are large language models developed by Anthropic. Trump announced the order on Truth Social, allowing a 6-month phase-out for the Department of Defense, warning of severe consequences if Anthropic fails to cooperate. The dispute stems from Anthropic's refusal to permit mass surveillance of U.S. citizens of fully autonomous weapons, insisting on ethical red lines. The Pentagon invokes the Defense Production Act and threatened to label Anthropic a supply chain risk, typically for foreign adversaries. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth criticized Anthropic's arrogance, barring military contractors from dealings with the firm. Industry solidarity emerged as employees from Google, DeepMind and OpenAI signed a letter supporting Anthropic's stance, urging unity against division. Now, Poland has planned to introduce new legislation to ban social media for children under 15 years of age and will hold platforms responsible for age verification. The ruling Civic Coalition will present the draft outline on Friday, with fines planned for platforms that remain accessible to younger users. Education Minister Barbara Nowacka said on Friday, adding that the law could take effect by early 2027. Several European governments, including Denmark, Greece, France, Spain and Britain, have explored similar restrictions amid claims that social media services are harmful or addictive for minors. The British government said in January it was considering restrictions to protect children online after Australia implemented similar laws in December. Some more updates. Paramount Skydance will acquire Warner Brothers Discovery in a deal valuing the combined company at $110 billion. The two companies formally unveiled the deal on Friday. In a major turn of events, Netflix backed away from its $87.2 billion deal a day earlier, citing a price that was no longer financially attractive. The merged entity will include CNN, CBS, HBO and Nickelodeon, as well as some of Hollywood's most valuable franchises, including Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, the DC Universe, Mission Impossible and SpongeBob SquarePants. Under the terms of the agreement, Paramount will pay $31 per share in cash for all outstanding Warner Brothers shares, implying an equity value of $81 billion and $110 billion when including the mountain of debt Paramount will take on. Wall Street praised the deal, with shares of Paramount up more than 20% on Friday. Sports now. England continued its unbeaten run in the Super 8 stage of the ongoing T20 World Cup by beating New Zealand by 4 wickets in Colombo on Friday. The win helped Hartbrook-led side confirm its top spot in Super 8's Group 2. Meanwhile, New Zealand remained in second spot with 1 win and 1 defeat in 3 matches. Pakistan in third place with just 1 point from 2 matches will need to beat Sri Lanka by a big margin on Saturday to advance to the semi-finals. England have registered 3 wins in as many matches in Super 8s. And hundreds of joyful revelers converge on the sacred banks of Ganges River at the Harishchandra Ghat in the holy city of Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh to celebrate the city's distinctive Masan or Bhasma Holi. Amid the vibrant chaos of India's Spring Festival of Colours, participants playfully smeared one another with bright gulal powders while also tossing handfuls of ashes collected from funeral pyres in the air, symbolizing life cycle of creation and destruction. The ritual blends solemnity with exuberance, drawing both locals and visitors to embrace this profound centuries-old tradition unique to Varanasi. That's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.